name is Mac Bernard, the Vice Mayor for Palm Beach County. I'm very honored to introduce Senator Darryl Rouson, who I ended up serving as a state rep with. I want to thank the president of the Homeless Coalition and the board for giving me this honor. Senator Rouson works tirelessly for criminal justice reform in the state of Florida. He has represented the Tampa Bay area for the last decade, first as a House representative and now as a state senator. Senator Rouson knows that providing Floridians better access to substance abuse and mental health assistance, a just and wise court system, and creating affordable housing throughout Florida, and innovative solutions to transportation issues are keys to creating paths for all Floridians to be successful. These are also the key issues to addressing our mission to end homelessness in Palm Beach County. Senator Rouson's work ethic is tireless. He knows exactly where every budget item is in the state, in the budget. Am I right, Senator? Moreover, perhaps most importantly for today, the Senator's voice is uplifting and unifying. Senator Rouson finds a path for people to work together. I would like to welcome a true advocate, my brother from another mother, Senator Rouson.
Good afternoon. My consummate realism and pragmatic politics tells me that there is another beatitude, and that is, after we have heard much, blessed are the brief, for they shall be invited again. So let me follow protocol first and thank Almighty God for having kept me along this journey. You don't have time for me to tell you the real story. Just know that it was the grace and the mercy and the 12-step program of recovery that has brought me to this day. And you could not have written the script for me 20 years, 6 months, 1 week, and 3 days ago when I woke up in Hanley Hazelden here in West Palm Beach. So I thank God. I also thank the Rubenstein Law Firm, 1-800-FL-LEGAL, for supporting me and allowing me to be part of a team of expert injury lawyers who understand the need to represent in Tallahassee as well as in courtrooms all across this state. And they allow me to fight for you, to fight for our issues. And I promised the voters that there would not be a stronger senator in the Florida Senate on our issues than me. And I want to thank my colleagues. Mac, it was a pleasure serving with you in the House. Priscilla Taylor, it was a pleasure serving with you in the House. And Senator Lori Berman, I look forward to us working together in the Senate. Senator Bobby Powell, who just had a baby, as you well know, I'm not going to forgive him. He should be here today. Because I watched him from a legislative aide to a state representative to now to a state senator. And to my good friend in the Senate, Senator Kevin Rader, who's out somewhere in Sacramento, California, selling beekeepers insurance. So having followed protocol, let me get to the point. I will never forget the day I asked for help. The hopelessness, the loneliness, the anger, the fear, the deep gut rage, the gift of desperation. The bottom became my gift of desperation. My pathway to homelessness was because of a drug and alcohol addiction. And it's one of the top causes of homelessness. My first bout with it was as I was going through a bitter divorce and no one would have me. I moved into the rectory with several priests, including Father George Clements of Chicago, who founded the One Church, One Child program and has been responsible for over 200,000 children finding homes who were previously homeless. But he kicked me out of the rectory. I guess he didn't think it was appropriate for me to be going over to Cabrini Green, Ida B. Wells, Robert Taylor Homes, Stateway Gardens, buying crack and bringing it back and smoking it in the rectory. I ultimately got remarried in Chicago, but she died from breast cancer. And I took the $80,000 life insurance policy, spent 60 of it on cocaine and alcohol over 6 months in a downward depressive cycle, self-medicating, anesthetizing my feelings against the disappointments of life, the rejections of life, until I was confronted with the choice. And the choice was to either raise my 4-year-old son and get clean, or to lose him and experience jails, institutions, or maybe death. I was glad for that choice because I chose life. I packed my 4-year-old up, flew him to North Carolina, where the only sibling that agreed to keep him and give him back if I got clean was my sister Janine. Dropped him off, caught the next flight smoking to Fort Lauderdale, paid $127 to a cab so I could get drunk all along the way. But the night of March 16th, 1998, I walked into the detox at Hazelden and woke up on St. Patty's Day, the day the rest of the world was getting drunk. And that little voice was talking to me, "Is you crazy? Boy, what are you doing in treatment on St. Patty's Day? Let's get high one more time and we'll come back tomorrow." And I saw the employees running around with leprechauns on. The radio, newspaper, TV advertising free beer, green beer, happy hour, St. Patty's Day. Finally, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I said to this voice that was talking to me, "You promised me we get high one more time and we'll come back tomorrow." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. You go get it and I'll wait here for you. And when you come back, we'll get high." He said, "Don't you know I can't do this without you? I need your legs, I need your arms, I need your hands, I need your eyes." And I said, "Boy, you need all that?" He said, "Yeah, how you think we've been doing this? This is a we program." I said, "Well, you out of luck, because I'm done." And the father of Lieutenant Brian Uzo, who's with the Palm Beach County Fire Department, was my last counselor in treatment. And I got chills bumps when I walked into the Phil Lewis Center today, and there were the case managers sitting around the table discussing the lives that they were about to impact, planning to help them, and seeing the clients who were there wanting help. I moved back to St. Pete with $200 in my pocket sleeping on the floor at 535 Central Avenue in a little cubbyhole of an office, washing off in the public bathrooms of that building before people came to work, too ashamed, too embarrassed to tell anybody that I was homeless. No car, no driver's license. Illinois had taken it for a 5-year revocation because of 2 DUIs. No house, no job, no one to believe in me but my 4-year-old son. And every place I went wouldn't hire me. Until I talked to Susan Cerruti, the county attorney. She said, you know what? I got a law clerk position. It pays $17.50 an hour, but it'll help you get started, and I took it. I walked every day making my meetings, believing in myself. They said get 1 sponsor, I got 2 sponsors. Someone said, why don't you run for president of the NAACP? I said, what? You gotta be crazy. A venerable, age-old civil rights organization like the NAACP? And against a woman who had been president 21 years? They said, well, are you walking your sobriety with integrity? Do you have a foundation upon which you're standing? And I said, yes. They said, so run. So I ran. And the first smear campaign they came out with was, you know that Darryl Rouson is home and he's a crackhead and an alcoholic. And if he wins the presidency of the NAACP, they're going to be having AA and NA meetings in the headquarters. But the program gave me tools. My sponsor encouraged me, like the case managers who work and touch these lives. And the program said to me to ask them, well, if it's truly a community organization relevant to today's issues, why haven't they had them before? And out of 300 votes cast, I won by 16 votes, and for 5 years, I was president of the NAACP in St. Petersburg. Then someone suggested, why don't you run for the State House of Representatives? I said, politics? I said, they won't have to hire an investigative reporter. They can go to the corner of 15th Avenue South and 16th Street and talk to Pookie underneath the tree. He'll tell them everything, and for a 6-pack, he'll make some stuff up. But again, the question was asked, are you walking your sobriety with integrity? And my response was yes, so I ran, and at the first debate, at the beautiful St. Petersburg Yacht Club on wonderful Tampa Bay, Bay News 9, Film and Live, the Sarasota Herald, Bradenton Herald Tribune, St. Pete Times, Tampa Tribune, 400 people, maybe 15 looked like me. My opponent stood up and he said, ladies and gentlemen, I've served you well on the City Council of St. Petersburg. Never a blemish on my record. But before I tell you about me, let me tell you about Darryl Rouson. He's a crackhead. He's been arrested 2 times for DUI. You ever had somebody read your inventory? And he came down and sat next to me at the head table. And I whispered some choice words to him. And then it was my turn to get up. And I stood at the microphone, and I adjusted my tie and buttoned my coat as men do when they're nervous about to address an audience. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, everything my opponent said about me is true. It is absolutely true. You know how some people won't ever let you forget what you did that got you somewhere? I said, but this is a special election. And it's not special because Governor Christ has elevated Frank Peterman to become the new Secretary of the Department of Juvenile Justice, vacating the seat, requiring a special election. That's not what makes it special. What makes it special is the election is March 25th, 2008. And for those of you who are believers, that's 2 days after Easter Sunday. So we are campaigning, we are politicking, we're running through the season of Lent, the season of redemption, the season of resurrection that leads to new life. How dare a man stand up and suggest that another man can't become something because of what he used to be? They gave me a standing ovation. He came in 3rd place. And for 8 years, I wore the title, and you could go back and YouTube Representative Rouson's farewell speech to the Florida House. On May 1st of 2016, I said goodbye. And I thanked Almighty God, but then I didn't thank my mother, I didn't thank my father, I didn't thank my wife, I didn't thank my kids, I didn't even thank the dog. I thanked the REM group, REM, which stands for Radically Evolving Miracles, which was my Monday night Narcotics Anonymous meeting in Tallahassee at Disc Village across the street from Tallahassee Community College that I made every Monday night I was in Tallahassee. Tallahassee will make you want to drink. Then I ran for the Senate. And my opponent spent $2.4 million in a four-way crowded Democratic primary trying to defeat me. But not one mailer, not one flyer, not one radio spot, not one TV spot attacked me because of my addiction, because I owned it. And I walked sobriety with integrity. And they told me that if I shouted from the pulpit, you can't hurt me by whispering it in the back of the room. And so I'm now walking in my destiny, but it was due to case managers. It was due to people who believed that a homeless person could be somebody. And that's the importance of your support today. That's the importance of the work that they're doing at the Phil Lewis Center. And I've come full circle. And it's good to be back in Palm Beach County. My father is buried at Queen of Peace Cemetery on Southern Boulevard. He was a vice president at Palm Beach State College under Dr. Ed Easy. My mother taught at John I. Leonard High School. And State Attorney Aaron Berg, it's good to see you. You've been an ally in this war on drugs. So anyway, you've heard all the statistics. I just want to put a face, another face, to the issue of homelessness. Judge Pam Campbell, circuit court judge in Pinellas County, who was the judge in the Hulk Hogan trial. Before she became a judge, her office was on the floor, the same floor of the building where I was sleeping. And she teased me a few times. She said, boy, I saw you here last night before I left, and you're here early this morning. Boy, you're working hard. But I was too embarrassed to tell her I was sleeping there, washing off in the public bathroom with my 4-year-old son. But through the grace of God, through good people who watched me walk sobriety with integrity, with your support, I have traveled this state. By the end of this month, I will have been to 46 drug treatment facilities, halfway houses, sober homes, emergency rooms of hospitals. I asked the legislature for $25 million new dollars to put towards mental health and substance abuse. We lost 5,725 Floridians in 1 year due to the opioid epidemic, 2016. And until the Parkland shooting, we were losing 14 to 16 every day. But then 17 people tragically and horrifically lost their lives in one day, and the whole world was watching. And we found $404 million to put into a School Safety Act. But since then, 14 to 16 have continued to die every day in this state and become homeless because of addiction. We've got our work cut out for us. So I want to thank you for inviting me here today. Hopefully I've not held you hostage. But your work, your support, your funds are important to the lives of people, human beings that deserve a hand up, not a handout.